A belated good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 2-Minute Warning, finally, the high-paced American football podcast in which the time is in short supply, but the opinions and technical difficulties are not. Welcome, welcome. I am Jeremy. I'm joined, as always, by Matt, who is the cause of the technical difficulties.
Yeah, for once.
I've got no shame in throwing out there that it's all Matt's fault.
Yeah, I'll take 110% of the blame. These things did something, and hey, we had to go again, but it's working. Hooray!
I think the thing behind the headphones is probably mostly to blame. That cloth that you're wearing.
What, 1-0 Patriots? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's definitely to blame. Definitely to blame.
Okay.
Nova Charter's on your side though. He's thrown a go Pats into the
Absolutely. Chat. My Massachusetts friend from across the pond there. Yeah, 1-0, buddy, 1-0.
Got nothing.
Yeah.
Shall we crack on with the show before we face some other kind of technical difficulty?
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we kick things off on the kickoff of the NFL season, in which the defending champion, home team, Kansas City Chiefs, defeated the Houston Texans 34-20. What did we think of this game and the Chiefs' victory? Kick us off, Matthew.
Well, I think, and I think we'll both agree. We saw this coming, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he just continues to look fantastic, leading that O-line in Kansas. I mean, did we really expect anything else?
No. I mean, we both called that Mahomes would turn up and do Mahomes things, and that's exactly what happened. The thing is, I didn't expect. I expected worse of the Texans. Actually, I thought they looked better.
Yes, they did.
Than we had kind of given them credit for in all of the build-up to this season, the long build-up. And certain members of that Texan team stepped up as well.
Yeah.
Like Will Fuller, he got 112 yards.
Absolutely.
For my fantasy team. Cheers, dude.
Yeah. Like you saying, Will Fuller is just one of those players we picked out in the whole fantasy prediction we did last week, and shame on those not starting him. I think there was a guy on my Hammerheads fantasy, Ash, our quarterback in Swansea, who didn't start Will Fuller and left him on the bench, and he got something like 15.90 points. So, you lose, I win.
I assume your league is a PPR league then, because he got about 11, 12 points for me.
It's PPR, yeah.
There you go. That makes more sense. But yeah, I mean, I think against any other team, against most other teams, the Texans would have done a lot better. But that Chiefs team on both sides of the ball is something else. I don't think anybody could have stopped that Chiefs offense on Thursday night.
No, absolutely.
The other thing with this game was it was the first game with the limited crowd.
Yeah.
And I felt that it was fine. They were just as loud as they needed to be.
I think,
and that's time.
Yeah. I'll just
we can get back into the discussion of the crowd noise a bit later. It will come up again, I'm sure.
The only sour note about that whole thing, to interject my opinion before we go on to the next topic, is the fact of the booing. And it was nothing to do with the national anthem. It was the stand of unity between the teams and the coaches. So, hey, who knows? It's America, people.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a fan of the booing either. I couldn't quite believe that was happening.
No.
What are you going to do, man? It's apparently, it is well needed, all of the protests and the messages, because racists and morons are still out there, and
absolutely
they needed educating. One last thing before we move on to the next game. We both said the Chiefs would win in our predictions, so we are 1-1.
Good start. Good start for both of us. We'll see how it progresses. Let's
progress on to Sunday then. Over to you to introduce that.
In our in the first of our early Sunday games, the Buffalo Bills defeated the New York Jets at home with a score of 27-17. Same old Jets. I think we should discuss this.
They are the same old Jets, aren't
Yeah,
they? I mean,
absolutely.
the Jets defense had absolutely no answer for Josh Allen at
No,
all.
no.
That kid just completely balled out with his
Yeah, yeah,
312 yards and 2 touchdowns.
yeah,
To be fair, the O-line gave him a ton of time. That O-line were playing extremely well. But even on the times when somebody from the Jets D-line could break through,
yeah.
Josh Allen just went whoop, rounds straight
Absolutely.
on the run. They just had no answer for him whatsoever.
No.
Um,
I mean,
Diggs,
yeah, Diggs is absolute standout for me. He led in receptions with 8 for 86 yards. That's it's all right numbers, but he'll do more. I'm pretty sure he'll do more. We see more of him, and
yeah,
he'll play well with what Buffalo were doing, and they've done exactly what we said they would. I think last week when we were predicting this game, looking at it, they've built on what they were building last season, and they've added to it. And yeah, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty confident that the AFC East is going to be competitive, right?
maybe. I mean, the Bills are especially good because they've brought in a player like Diggs,
Yeah,
who, as you said, led in receptions. But everybody else got some time on the ball as well. John Brown and Cole Beasley
Josh
got
Brown. Yeah,
almost as many touches of the ball.
yeah, yeah.
In the chat, Dylan says Adam Gase can't call a game other than wide receiver screens. I think Adam Gase might be the problem in New York. You know,
I think that's what it falls down to. I mean, I was talking to Dylan briefly on our
5 seconds.
on our social, and we said that Gaze is on the hottest seat, I think, in the league, and he won't last until October. That's my prediction.
Not if they continue on this path. No,
No,
if you
no,
have a run of bad games,
yeah.
losing games, no, it's not going to happen. We both said Bills. That's 2 each so far.
Oh, really? Are
This
you
might end in
sure
a
now?
tie.
It might end in a tie. Yeah, might end in a tie. I think it's heading that way. Anyway, we're 2-2 so far. So yeah, I think yeah, good competition between me and you.
Let's crack on.
Yep.
And as much as it pains me to have to say this out loud in a public forum, the Packers dominated last night.
Did that
And
hurt?
yeah, I've got immediate heartburn from saying
I
something
bet. I
positive
bet.
about the
Yeah.
Packers.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
defeated the Minnesota Vikings 43-34. So I
Yes.
guess we'll discuss it or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we should.
Right.
Yeah. No. No. What can we say? Aaron Rodgers turned up angry and did what he really should have been doing for quite a long time. I think I looked at some stats. 4 touchdowns in a season opener for the first time in his storied career. I mean, that's pretty special, right?
Well, the thing is, and it's something that I particularly enjoyed, normally week 1, for whatever reason, they keep doing Bears Packers.
Yeah,
So this was the first time in a long time. The last time I can remember the Bears playing someone other than the Packers was 2012 when they played the
yeah.
Colts.
It's a
May even
long
have
old
been
stretch,
further
isn't
back
it?
than that. And
Yeah,
obviously the Bears tend to have a stellar defense, and that's why Rodgers would
yeah.
have been prevented from scoring that many touchdowns.
Mm.
But let's not get too carried away with the Aaron Rodgers love, because it took
No.
him until nearly the second half to score.
Yes, it did.
The defense and their kicker kept them in the game up until that point, while the
Yeah,
Vikings were scoring quite happily with
yeah,
Dalvin Cook. Much love to Dalvin Cook from my fantasy team.
yeah.
And you look at the Packers team, and Devontae Adams is just the guy. He is the
Yes,
linchpin of that team.
yes, he is.
Valdez Scantling isn't bad either.
No.
So I guess my prediction of there is nobody to throw to in Green Bay has kind of gone out the window a little.
Yeah, and I picked up on the stats with Aaron Jones. I mean, he had a fantastic night with 14 receptions for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. But what can we say about the Vikings? I mean, they got 34 points and still didn't come out of there with a win. It's crazy.
That's time.
Yeah, it was crazy score. But yeah, Green Bay won.
They did, and you predicted such.
I did.
Which puts you on 3 and leaves me in the dust at 2.
Oh, shame. I just had a feeling last week. So yeah, Vikings boo, Green Bay. Only time you'll hear me say that. Boo more, yeah. So moving on. I mean, after a massive comeback in the second half, we're looking at Washington football team and Philadelphia Eagles here. The Washington football team upset the Philadelphia Eagles with a score of 27-17. I think we've got something to say about this, haven't we?
Yeah, mainly that you called it, man.
I did call it. I did.
It was not one of the upsets I predicted. I didn't think that the Washington team could be this good quite as soon as this. I thought they had promised to get better this season.
Yes, they did.
And that they'd be fired up from all the things from the off-season and the name change and the new players they've got and et cetera, et cetera. But the Eagles, I think they just got a bit complacent as the more the game went on. The Eagles were in charge for the first quarter at least. But the turnaround really was Wentz throwing an interception in the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, that certainly didn't help them, did it? I mean, Washington has started off a complete fresh new book, and Haskins was an absolute revelation for me and for Washington, and led them to that shock win start to the season. But like you said, Wentz was, in my opinion, awful, and the Eagles. And I'm going to use this. They forgot how to fly. I was absolutely shocked at. I know we were talking earlier about Zach Ertz. He dropped a couple of clangers, didn't he?
A couple of easy ones, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and it didn't help that there wasn't a whole lot of protection for Wentz as the game went on, and that what has turned into a stellar D-line in Washington. They managed to sack him 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's no wonder that he couldn't really get passes where they needed to go. But you talk about Haskins, who I didn't really rate, but I think I now rate him as a locker room leader.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've heard this story, but they went into the locker room at halftime.
Right.
And Ron Rivera needed to have an IV because he's currently fighting cancer. So he had to have an IV just to be in fit enough state to coach in the second half. And Haskins led them on a rah-rah kind of thing that Rivera said he could hear from the next room having his IV. And they came out and they balled. That's what you do. So,
good on Haskins. Well done. Well, really
good on Haskins. Well good on the Redskins.
Oh, not Redskins.
Oh, dude, man, I can't get used to this stuff.
No. Yeah,
I know it's a quick aside. But I was discussing this with my wife last night, and why? Because I last night I just kept saying Redskins at the side of the team, like it's ingrained. And I think the reason that it's so difficult to let go of this name compared to other times when like teams change name is that they haven't got an alternative yet.
No.
And that's the problem. Like it took me a while to adjust to Los Angeles Chargers and Los Angeles Rams, and still haven't quite adjusted to Las Vegas Raiders, but I'm getting there more than I'm getting to Washington. And but it's because there was something else to call them.
Yes, and that's
like they don't have a moniker in Washington, so I default to the one that they've dropped, and I don't support that name in any way, but it's just taking some adjustment.
Yeah, and that's what I found. I mean, I was watching a bit of red zone, I was just like, oh, where is that logo with the Indian chief in it? And it's just a big W now with the colours of the team, which is cool. I get it. We've discussed it at length way back, a couple of weeks back. But yeah, it's really difficult to just take a grasp of that whole name change. Like you said, no moniker. And yeah, we'll see that I think they're actually talking about actually keeping it as Washington Football Team.
I was
So
going to say, yeah.
Who knows? We'll see. I think that's going to be another story for postseason when we get there. So yeah, we'll see.
So back to what I was trying to say when I threw out that slur was that you picked Washington and I picked the Eagles. So it's 4 Matt, 2 Jez.
Oh, pulling away now.
Yeah, well, not to inflate your ego even more, but on to our next game. The team who are beloved to you, for some reason, the New England Patriots, got their post-Brady era started with a bang, putting up a 21-11 victory over the Miami Dolphins. Go for it, man. 2 minutes.
All right. So you know me, I'm going to be biased out here anyway. You know,
Yes.
I was really nervous, and for good reason. I've never known Patriots properly without Tom Brady. But it was really cool to see Cam effing Newton. It is absolute revelation, breath of fresh air, whatever you want to call it. He can run and run and run. He took us off to a 6-0 lead with a rushing touchdown. He actually got 2 rushing touchdowns throughout the game, and I feel, and I've read a little bit into it today, Josh McDaniels hasn't even taken the training wheels off that monster yet.
So it was obviously a very different Patriots team under Cam Newton. There's no denying that. And he actually looks good in a Patriots jersey. That new jersey with the strap, the like straps on the top and then the blue. I actually quite like it. And I like Cam. So maybe I can stop hating on the Patriots now. Nah, they've still got Belichick. And Kraft still owns the team, so no, never mind. Forget that. On to the other team that were playing in the game, if you can use that term. Fitzmagic, not so much.
No.
He's normally a guy that's really careful with the ball, and he just made so many silly mistakes and threw the ball away far too much.
And the Patriots' defensive line was just. It just seemed like they were deflecting the ball or picking it off. Every time I was watching, I was just thinking, Christ, we haven't got even some of our starting defensive line.
Yeah.
We were grabbing it out of the air and just bringing it in and just keeping that ball out of Miami hands.
Dylan says in the chat, Pats played the Finns, they'll get smashed in week 2. And I don't know, I think they looked good considering they've dropped a bunch of players to COVID opt-outs. So I don't know. Watch this space. I don't think they get smashed by everyone.
No.
Maybe they do by the Seahawks because they're the Seahawks, but don't count this Patriots team out like we first thought when Brady left town. That's all I'm going to say about that. Obviously, you and I picked the Patriots. So that's 5 Matt, Jez 3 on the week.
And that's the only time we agree, I think. Maybe we'll see this season. But yeah, who knows?
Next game then.
Okay, so this was the Indianapolis Colts at the Jaguars. So the game that we both suggested last week could be the Snorefest of the week was anything but, as the Jags rolled over the Colts 27-20. It was interesting. It was worth the watch. What do we reckon?
I mean, I nailed it. And you nailed it. We both said the Jags would win this, even though the Colts were the favourite. And they looked fantastic. The idea that they're, tanking to get the first overall pick next year, which I didn't believe in the first place, but I hope this puts to bed that idea. Gardner Minshew, man. 19 of 20.
Minshew mania.
Minshew Mania is running wild. 19 of 20 for
90,
173 yards.
95% of his passes completed. That
And that's only
is
like that. I don't think that percentage really does it justice. I think
no,
saying only one of his passes fell incomplete
yeah,
is
and they
the
count
is the
it,
best way of giving him the
and
credit for
they
that.
count it as 5%. So yeah, it is what it is. It's stats, but hey ho,
Yeah,
it's a massive win for them, a huge win.
definitely. And there were lots of clutch catches from the Jags receivers.
Yeah,
There's not really a star amongst them, but they're working hard. The ball's getting shared around
yeah.
everybody. And it didn't hurt that, Captain Sidearm over on the other team, Captain
he
Phil
was all
Sidearm,
he was awful. He was shocking for me.
he continued the tradition of just slinging the ball wherever he
Yeah,
felt like throwing it
yeah,
rather than to his players. And I think it's the two interceptions, pardon me, from the Colts that actually gave the Jags the chance to capitalize.
yes, yeah.
That and the fact that Marlon Mack went down early, and so the run game for Indianapolis couldn't really get
It
going either.
just ended, didn't it, when he left the field? It was it's horrible to see a player get injured, but yeah, hey,
That's time on that.
Gardner and his perfect shaped mustache,
It's Fu Manchu,
Fu Manchu. Yeah,
Fu Minchu, as they call it now.
I just call it a porn star mustache, but
It is
that's
a
what it
porn
is.
star mustache.
Best
Yeah,
best
yeah.
team in Florida right now,
According to the stats, yeah, yeah.
according to the stats. Yeah,
So that's you 6, me 4. That's we both increased by 1.
you're catching up, but that two stands,
Mm.
two
So
stands.
moving on, the Bears, the Bears, the Bears, the Bears. That's the Open. 2 minutes.
You needed that win. You needed that win.
Who, me personally, or every
You
Chicago
you
Bears fan?
well, you personally for number one, look after number one, and secondly, whatever you want to call the Bears Nation or whatever they are, the Bear Pack. No, we don't call them the Bear Pack. That's just weird.
We don't really have a
Okay, that's
collective
fine.
noun for
We have
Bears
like
fans, as
we
far
have
as I
like
know.
Pats Nation, but you have the Bears, whatever. The Bears, the
Yeah,
Bears.
I
The
mean,
Bears.
Pat's Nation is crap.
It
Anyway,
is.
to the game. Final score of 27-23, which was massive squeaky bum time for me for
Yes, I
the
can imagine.
majority. I watched the game on Fox, and by
Hmm.
halftime, all of the pundits were ready to bench Trubisky.
Yes, they were.
But he was a totally different guy in the fourth quarter, especially.
Yeah,
Um, my problem is where is this guy all the time? In the first half, he wasn't even stepping into his throws.
no.
Like, how has this not been coached out of him by now? Or
Mm-mm.
if he is the problem and he is uncoachable in that aspect, why
Yeah,
has he not been benched? This is high school level stuff.
it is.
Point your opposite foot to your hand in the direction you are throwing. It
Yeah,
is fundamental to the position of quarterback.
yeah.
It's the first thing I taught my quarterbacks when I was teaching junior ball.
Yeah,
It's
I know,
not hard.
no, it's not. And I did watch it in between things, and I watched it a little bit on Red Zone. I did. I was really laughing when it came to. I saw the Lions just absolutely running away with it, and it was kind of funny for me. But Trubisky pulled it off, and they got that win. We didn't even mention the Lions.
No. Well,
But
that's kind of telling. That is our time, but that's kind of telling,
mhm,
The Lions beat themselves in a lot of aspects.
they did.
Like
They did.
I'm as a Bears fan, I'm not full of confidence after that game.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure
So
you're gonna pick up a couple more wins. You'll be all right.
we're not going to
You'll
beat the
be
Packers. We're not going to beat the Vikings with that kind of play. So it
no.
doesn't really
You,
matter.
you need. You
If
need.
we can't win the division, what's the point?
Well, yeah. Okay. Fair. Fair. You,
But
you
we
need
both said the
someone to.
Bears.
We did, and that's another agreement we've had.
which is just bumping up your score, well, and mine, but it's not
But
fixing the deficit any. So 5 for me,
it's
7
not.
for you. And let's crack on.
Yeah, so next we looked at the now Las Vegas Raiders against the Carolina Panthers, and the Raiders showed that a change is as good as the rest, and they actually beat the Panthers at our prediction, actually, which was weird, and they actually came out 34-30 winners, which was crazy to watch. But yeah, we're gonna have a good old discussion about this funny old game that we call American football.
Let's have a chin wag about it and be very
Absolutely,
British about it.
wag this.
So, Teddy Bridgewater, I think, was the biggest story coming into this game
Yeah.
and how he would perform in Carolina. And he
Mhm.
went into game manager mode, which sometimes is going to get it done. He got it done last year at the Saints because
Mhm.
he had that stellar team around him.
Yes.
But there was no fizzle, there was no fire from the guy.
Mm.
And that's probably what cost them in the end. There was just no
Yeah,
urgency on
I,
that
I
team.
feel I feel 100% the same about the whole thing. Like you're saying, they're led by Teddy and Christian McCaffrey, CMC, and
Hmm.
we both agreed that they were dead. Sure, they're dead cert to come up winners. I mean, CMC got 2 touchdowns, right?
He did 96 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the game was carried by the running backs. Let's
Yes,
be
it was.
completely honest about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Josh Jacobs and his 93 yards and 3 touchdowns.
yeah, yeah.
But there becomes a point, especially with Carolina, where somebody is going to slow down McCaffrey,
Yes, they will.
and then what? He's got to be able to fall back on something.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, Robbie Anderson had a good game with
Hmm.
his 115 yards and a touchdown. That was
Yeah.
kind of his middle finger to Sam Darnold and the Jets, who didn't want to keep him around.
It certainly was, and good on him.
Um, and on the other side, Carr did okay. He
Yeah,
did fine.
three touchdowns, right?
Yeah,
So
3 and
that's
just under 240 yards. So maybe Carr is in a better position to step up down the line if they hamper Josh Jacobs more than Bridgewater.
hmm
It's a funny one. This game probably could have gone either way, I think.
yeah, it could have done, and I think both teams can have an indifferent season anyway, and they probably will. Both teams will probably shock other teams and probably shock the fans, but we'll see. Are Carolina missing Supercam? Maybe.
Dylan says Robbie wanted stupid money for someone who only runs straight. Dude,
Dude,
that's the position. You run straight, you catch.
yeah,
Like, especially on the outsides like that. The
Yeah.
extreme kind of old school winger wide receivers
yeah, yeah,
who are, throwbacks to the when football was rugby and you're a winger who just stays on the outsides.
yeah, yeah.
He can't run slants. Yeah,
No,
well, slants are overrated.
I agree. I can't run slants for poop.
Slants only work on Madden.
Absolutely, and I love Madden. I
Use-
always win.
I run better slants, he says.
He probably does, but yeah. What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do?
What are you gonna do when
Robbie Anderson runs all over you.
Yeah.
Do the Panthers play the Jets this year? I wonder. That'll be interesting.
We'll
Anyway,
have to,
so we both said the Panthers, and we were both wrong. So that leaves us 5, me, you, 7.
yeah, can't even split points on that because it's a loss. Oh well.
Moving on then, and just as everyone expected, no sarcasm, the Ravens defeated the Browns 38-6. Go!
Massacre, absolute massacre, and we said it would be. And yeah, Lamar was just brilliant. We knew he'd be brilliant. He was always going to build on the season he had last year. He was the MVP.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's exactly as kind of the little synopsis that I gave last week.
Yeah.
Because the Browns didn't actually look that bad.
No.
The run game was going at different points. Kareem Hunt
Yeah.
got 72 yards, Chubb got 60, so that was starting to cook.
Yeah.
Mayfield was completing some deep passes.
Mm-hmm.
They were moving up and down the field.
Yeah.
But that Ravens team is just on a completely different level to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I
not
can't
even
say
sure
anything
it's
about it.
a huge indictment on the Browns. It's just that team was incredible. But
Yes.
the interesting thing that I found about this game is that it seemed like Lamar Jackson was out to kind of stick his middle finger up, a lot of that today, at all of the not bad for a running back dickheads that and he just dinked out some incredible passes from the pocket. He didn't run a whole lot. He scaled back on that running game and ended up on 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. Take that, haters,
Absolutely. And I don't blame him one bit for what he did in that game. I mean, just to watch the highlights the NFL put up on YouTube or wherever, it was just a thing of beauty. I mean, he's such a good player that probably deserves more than the contract he's got, considering we've got mega money contracts with Mahomes.
He'll get paid, don't you worry.
Oh, he'll get paid. Yes,
he
will get paid.
That's our time on that. But we both said the Ravens.
We did.
We're still 2 points apart.
Yeah, that's fine. We can keep it like that till the end, and I'll pick up the win and run around and wave a flag or something. Yeah. No. Okay. I'm not running anywhere. I damage myself when I do stuff.
I was going to say, you hurt your wrist doing simple things. So putting up a shed.
I did, and this is sports tape for all you sports tape fans out there. Instead of us having a stupid splint on, I could have drawn.
That's not sports tape. That's masking tape for when you want to do solid lines on your wall.
I should have drawn an American football field on it, looking at the colour.
Anyway, let's move on to the next game. Which I don't think you've got very much to say about.
Why? Okay, so
just your introduction. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. So Seahawks. Yeah, Seattle Seahawks at the Falcons, and this was I don't want to say close because it wasn't. I don't think 38-25 to the Seahawks, and yeah, good game. Good game.
Let us talk about it.
Let us talk.
First things first, totally away from the game.
Mm-hmm.
Can Atlanta sort their field out? It looks awful. Like,
it's
threadbare. There's different shades of green all over it. It's just awful. It's supposed to be one of the most high-tech stadiums in the country. Sort your goddamn field out.
And even if they can't grow grass in Arizona, I mean, they've got that fake stuff, haven't they?
That's the thing. Most of the stadiums are that fake stuff, and it's just that they haven't replaced that fake stuff, and it looks terrible. Anyway, about the game, because we've wasted almost a minute on that. Yeah. Russell Wilson only had 4 incomplete passes the entire game.
So he stepped up like I said he would.
Yes.
I did.
And helpfully, my fantasy opponent had Russell Wilson with his 4 touchdowns.
Ouch.
Great. They had 2 nearly 100-yard receivers in Seattle.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about this game, it is just a list of excellent things that the Seahawks did. But the Falcons didn't actually look that bad. Yeah, don't get me started on DK Metcalf, thanks. The Falcons didn't actually look that bad. They were just outmatched by a clearly superior team.
Yes.
450 yards for Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan doing Matt Ryan things.
Mm-hmm.
And Gurley had a great start to his Atlanta campaign too.
Yeah, like you say, Matt Ryan, 450 yards. It's insane yardage, but they still lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ouch.
No quarterback should throw for 450 yards and 2 touchdowns and be on the losing team. There's something weird about that. But that is
Systematically wrong.
exactly what happened.
It did.
And we both said the Seahawks. And I didn't give you your number on this. So, Jez 7, Matt 9.
Oh, you nearly robbed me of a point then, didn't I? I saw it coming. You had to rob me somewhere.
I know.
Somewhere.
I'm going to have to keep an eye and make sure this score is correct as we go forward now. But
yeah.
On to the next game, where Tyrod Taylor turned up to spoil the Joe Burrow party as the Los Angeles Chargers defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 16-13.
Yeah.
2 minutes. You can kick us off this time.
All right. So I've watched the highlights, and Joe Burrow, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's pretty much, he wouldn't have wanted to dream about that. You know, he had 193 yards, 1 interception, but he did get a rushing touchdown. So that's all right. You know, Joe Burrow doing his rookie things. He'll be all right, surely, in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, I think so. He showed some flashes of promise. So hopefully that'll come good in a few weeks. He didn't look out of his depth like some first overall picks or first round QBs can when they're thrown in, when they're thrust in to a poor team starting week 1. That's usually a recipe for failure, but I think Burrow kind of held his own. There were no passing TDs in this game.
No. And no, like I said, no even standout receivers for Cincinnati.
No.
You know? Yeah, crazy
No, it was
game.
dull. Austin Eckler rushed for 84 yards, but didn't score. He really needs to do more to push into the end zone if the Chargers are going to succeed this year. And at the same time, the Bengals running game didn't really get into the groove either. And that would have probably taken some pressure off the ruck and allowed them to score some passing touchdowns and do a bit more.
Yeah. Highest scoring player in that game, the Money Badger, Michael Badgley.
The Money Badger. Is that his actual nickname, or is that what you've called him?
No, that's his actual nickname.
That's atrocious.
10 points with his foot.
Whoever came up with that nickname needs to have his foot inserted in them, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's awful, but Google it.
Well, speaking of Google, it's been suggested that you do some Googling. Ashley Lewis has come in on Facebook and says, Matt, what are you on about? Did you watch the line play? Got much better as the game went on. No training camp, no O-line, no real help.
The what game?
Don't know. I don't know if he's talking about this game. Did you slate the O-line? I missed that if you did.
I didn't slate anybody. I said slated, well, not really even slated Joe Burrow. I just said, you know, you could have done better.
Maybe there's some kind of delay and we were talking about another game. I don't know. Feel free to come back to us, Ashley. What
I wasn't slating
what comment are you referring?
Yeah, I wasn't slating you, Ash. You're a decent quarterback. Joe Burrow's got, like, nothing on you.
Anyway, you said the LA Chargers.
I did.
And pick up a point. I said the Bengals and stay on 7. So that is...
I'm on double digits.
You're on 10 and I'm on 7. It just says the O-line play. So I don't know. You must have said something about the Bengals O-line, possibly. You don't even know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying.
No. Ash is just watching something from a couple of weeks back, maybe.
Do you know, I've had that happen. People have come in and said, "Oh, I was watching a replay I realized when you were talking about something that happened weeks ago that I was watching a replay.
Well, Ash, I haven't slated our Patriots, so he's another Patriots fan.
There are too many of you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was starting to like this Ashley kid until you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Anyway, crack on to the next game.
Okay, so we have the Cardinals at the 49ers. So in what could have been an upset of the week, the Cardinals put down the runners-up of the Super Bowl, or the losers of the Super Bowl, whichever way you want to call it, the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, like that. Don't do that. We've got a listener that's a 49ers fan. 24-20. Ouch. Right?
Ouch indeed.
Ouch.
I called it. I'm just throwing that out there first of all. I called it. Like, this was the upset that I locked in. This was always going to happen in my book.
Yeah.
But watching the game, you can see why.
Yeah.
In that Garoppolo's passes were just all over the place. They were shaky as hell.
What was he doing?
Especially at the end. I don't know what he was doing. It didn't help that his O-line didn't seem to offer as much protection as they usually do.
No.
And when they did, it just seemed like Garoppolo turned into a statue in the pocket.
Yeah.
He was like, his feet were not moving at all.
Yeah.
It was
just seemed
insane to watch.
Really, really, I don't know what you want to call it, robotic, statuesque. It was just weird. It was really weird of him.
Yeah. And that people had started to comment on this from Garoppolo towards the end of last season. Saying that they really didn't deserve to be in the Super Bowl and that the running game had carried them. But I mean, you look at his stats, 259 yards and 2 touchdowns. That seems okay. There's no interceptions. But if he can't come through in the clutch when it matters, then does it really make a difference?
No, I don't think it is. And I think, we were saying, this whole Super Bowl hangover, whether it's the winning team or the losing team, sometimes one has it, sometimes both have it. But yeah, 49ers got that hangover.
And the Cardinals looked amazing. Let's not take anything away from them. The 49ers did not beat themselves. The Cardinals absolutely annihilated the 49ers when it was all said and done. I'm going to call timeout here because I want to talk about this a bit more.
That's cool. I like it.
Everything seems to be clicking for that team now. And that's what I predicted last week. The addition of only one addition of DeAndre Hopkins has helped them big time. 151 yards for him in this game.
That's a good day at the office.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame he couldn't get a touchdown. He had a touchdown taken away because he was just short on a challenge. But even without that, that's a good day. And Kyler Murray balled out as well.
He did.
So he got 230 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And one interception, but we'll forget that. But not only that, he had 91 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown for himself as well.
Yeah. Another good day at the office.
Absolutely.
For a good player. Very good player now.
So you look at that division, and if the 49ers are declining, the Seahawks are good as well. The Rams, we'll get to them a bit later, but they seem okay.
Yeah.
We may get to a point where the 49ers drop to the bottom of that division for the first time in a few years.
Yeah, it's been a while since they've not come out of there on top, isn't it?
Yes.
They had
pre-trading for Garoppolo and not really having a quarterback in the building at all.
Don't come back to New England. It's right. You can stay there.
Oh, you don't want him now, do you?
No, I don't want him now.
Oh,
He's
right.
Okay. I'll have him on my fantasy team as like the backup QB. I've always said that, but
This is where I need to play you the clip of what you said a couple of weeks ago because
that's before Super Cam.
You massively turned around your opinion there.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that time. I said the Cardinals, bosh, bosh, bosh. You said the 49ers, ha, ha, ha. Brings me up to 8, leaves
Does.
you on 10.
Yes. You're
Now,
catching me.
before we move on,
Mm-hmm.
we've actually had a question come in to the chat that I actually feel like we should spend 2 minutes on discussing. So I'm just going to switch this page over to our viewer topic card. And the question is from Jacob Piccolo.
Okay.
He says, my buddy in fantasy is offering me Nick Chubb and Mark Ingram for Clyde Hellaire. What do you think? So with 2 minutes on the clock, let's talk about it. See what you think.
Okay.
Not to just completely quash the 2 minutes, but no.
I was going to build up to that, but I was going to say no.
I'm just going to get out there in front and say, no, your friend is trying to rip you off. Because the Browns are the Browns, and while Nick Chubb will have flashes of greatness throughout the season, there's no doubt about that, it will be an inconsistent level of achievement for you and your team.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark Ingram, probably going to be more consistent.
Yeah.
But when you look at the only thing we can look at for this year, and that's last night's game, Mark Ingram, I haven't got the stat with me, but he only got something like 40, 50 rushing yards, and he didn't score. And the direction that team seems to be going in is a more passing-based offense.
Mm-hmm.
They may bring the balance a little bit later in the season and bring that back, but Mark Ingram is not going to be scoring in the same manner as he did last season when it was the Lamar and Mark Ingram rushing show.
Yeah.
So even combined, Nick Chubb and Mark Ingram, I don't think does better than the top guy on the defending Super Bowl champions.
Yeah. And he had one hell of a game.
Absolutely had hell of a game.
For a rookie in his first game, no preseason, just training camp, turns up, kickoff of the NFL season, and did what he did. I agree. Don't do it. Really, really don't do it, because you will just not get the rewards.
No. Keep Hellaire. Keep Hellaire.
Absolutely. I got Hellaire, so yeah, keep him.
What, in your Hammerheads league? Because you don't have him in.
Yeah, my Hammerheads league. He was
in
like,
our league.
Yeah, I think he was like my third or fourth round pick. So I drafted him quite highly because of what he did in college.
Definitely worth the pickup. Definitely worth it.
Absolutely.
So there you go. A little impromptu viewer topic.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of an argument going on in the chat between Ashley, who's moved to YouTube, and Dylan.
Yeah.
So you may have to look back at this later and settle the handbags, but we won't get into that now.
Nah. One plays for my team, the other one's in transition to a different team, so it's okay. They live in different countries.
So you can take sides then. That's fine.
There'll be no handbags on the training field in Swansea, I tell you that much. Unless Dylan comes and does a bit of training with us again. I miss Dylan. He's a good guy, and he does a lot of good stuff for us. So it's cool. It's cool.
Right, back to the games then. Game of the week it wasn't.
No.
But perhaps it was for the Saints as they roll over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 34-23. You can kick us off talking about your favorite player, Tom Brady.
Oh, did you see that meme I put up earlier?
I did.
Yeah. Tom, stay there. Retire. But he looked out of place. He looked fed up on the bench. He couldn't make that much talked about O-line click at all. I know they had no preseason, but they've got to click somewhere. Disappointing.
I'm not one to defend Tom Brady. You know that I'm not a big fan of Tom Brady, but that's his face, man. That's the face he pulled on the sidelines in New England. That's just how he sits on the sideline. He always
Yeah.
looks like a grumpy git,
Hmm.
probably because he is a grumpy git.
Probably.
So I wouldn't necessarily hold that against him as such. And I don't think it's all bad for them. Again, I think it's a syndrome of they were playing a cracking team, and that
Yeah.
Saints team looked fierce, stepped up a whole lot more than I was expecting.
Yeah. Same.
I predicted a bit of an implosion last week if Breeze couldn't last,
Yeah.
and I still think that happens if Breeze goes down, but it's not all on Brady. The Bucks
No.
defense looked fantastic in the first quarter,
Yeah.
and then beyond that, they looked pedestrian for the
Yeah.
rest of the game. They
And
had no answer for
no.
Alvin Kamara, for Drew Brees, really spreading the ball around, to be
Yeah.
fair.
He was. He was. And like Rob Gronkowski, comeback Gronk. He didn't get the snaps he needed in game one for the Bucks, and
No.
just he also looked out of place to me.
I think that's a more fair assessment. I'm not sure that Gronk is going to step in quite as easily to that
No.
team as Brady will as the season goes on. I think OJ Howard is probably the main tight end
Yeah. Yeah.
in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But that's our time. We both said the Bucks, so no change to the score. Still
No.
8-10.
I'm still there, aren't I? Just right before this one. So it's okay. Anyway, so the late night kickoff that we had here in the UK, so 1:20 in the morning, that probably diehard Cowboys and Rams fans here in the UK stayed up for or watched it this morning before going to work or throughout the day. So the LA Rams opened their new stadium with a half-court win over the Dallas Cowboys with a score 20-17. It was close, really, really close. And yeah, it was a good win to open up SoFi.
Yeah, well, let's get into our last game discussion with 2 minutes. So I'm not to jump into your notes, but your first bullet point is the game started with a neutral zone infraction.
Yes, that was crap.
Really kind of exemplified the Cowboys'
Yeah.
defense in this game, especially. There were so many offside or neutral zone infractions from the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, yeah, no training camp, no preseason, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But come on, man, this is the professional league. Like, this isn't high school, it's not college. Half the time, I don't even know who it was. Emerson Griffin, I think it was. He just stood up and started walking into the backfield, and it's like, clearly the ball hasn't been snapped yet.
Stop moving.
Stop. Just
Rule
stand
number
still.
1. Yeah.
But beyond that, the Rams implosion or nosedive that I predicted really didn't happen. And the Cowboys, conversely, did everything to win other than actually win.
Mm-hmm. And Dak and Zeke, they look like they always do. They'll always get yards and they'll always get points. But like you said, I think a lot of it came down to these penalties, missed opportunities, and that for me they offset each other anyway. And the Cowboys should have won, but if you don't convert those chances, you're not going to score and you're not going to win games. So, yeah.
That's the thing. It's hard to put your finger on why the Cowboys didn't actually win. Dak, 266 yards and a touchdown. Elliott, 96 yards and a touchdown and one receiving. The ball was spread about. They held the Rams to 20 points.
Yeah.
They just needed more oomph, more urgency. I don't know. They should have won.
They should have won.
But two very closely matched teams, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll have to see going forward what they do against more formidable opponents. Or
Yes, yeah,
we both said the Cowboys.
we did. That was a crap call.
So nothing doing on predictions. So the final score for this week is Jez 8, Matt 10. So that means Matt wins week 1.
I should get a bobblehead to myself that does that now.
Yeah, I should get a bobblehead of you that I can put in the bin. Anyway, moving on to obviously the other aspect of that prediction is that in a matter of hours we have the Steelers at the Giants and the Titans at the Broncos, which we did predict last week.
We did.
But obviously they're never ever going to be played in time for this podcast that happens on a Monday night UK time. So we're going to roll the Monday night games into the following week. So Monday nights will always count to the following week. These 2 games will count to week 2. And we'll discuss that next week. Before we very quickly, hopefully in 2 minutes or less, crack through our predictions for week 2. Ashley Lewis asks, and I did want to discuss this, it didn't come up naturally. What did you guys think of teams pumping in the fake crowd noise? I won't put 2 minutes up. Let's just talk about it generally. What did you think?
Well, I've not experienced the pumping because when I've been watching soccer, it's kind of like fake noise that the TV provider puts in. So if you're watching Sky Sports, for example, or BT Sports, you can choose the channel that gives you the crowd noise. You can choose the channel that doesn't give you one. But it was kind of weird, and crowds were pretty loud, weren't they?
There are 2 aspects of this, and the first one is that I think it was only 2 of the teams that I watched. So the Chiefs and the Jags, I think, were the ones that had fans. I think everyone else, it was empty. Limited crowd, I feel, was more than loud enough to not have anything extra. I think those games seemed pretty similar to your average NFL game. It seemed like they made extra noise to make up for the fact that there were empty seats, and that was totally fine. And actually, I didn't have any problem with the fake crowd noise. I think that they've done it in such a way that it seems as natural as it can be without actually being natural, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a soundboard, so they can throw up different types of crowd noise depending on what's happened. It got louder at the points when the home team were doing well. It got quieter when the offense needed to work. And when you were just watching the game, when you're watching the all-22 shot of the offense and the defense, and you can't see the stands, I didn't feel like I was watching anything different than what I've watched in previous years. The only time it was like, oh, that's a bit weird, is then when they did a long shot and you could literally see empty seats everywhere. It was the worst in the Carolina Las Vegas game, when they kept looking over the head of the offense towards the end zone or for a field goal, and it was just blue seats and empty. So it was more the visual aspect that threw me off than the actual sound. I think the sound was absolutely fine, personally.
And like I said, I'm pretty accustomed to the whole fake noise on the soccer. So like you said, the old 22, I didn't know any different. Long shots, it's weird, but it's something we're going to get used to, and something I think that obviously as things open up and a bit less restrictive, if they're going to be anytime this season in the States, we'll get fans back in stadiums. I think it was 22% capacity for the Chiefs opener, which, like you said, was more than enough. I felt the same. It was more than
sufficient.
Enough. So, it's just something we'll live with, something we'll get used to. But no problem on my half anyway.
Yeah. There we go then. That's that thoroughly discussed.
Yes.
Let's crack on to our last 2-minute discussion.
Yep. So we're going to look at the week 2 predictions, and we're going to absolutely blast through these and just get these slate of games in 2 minutes or less. So here we go. Top.
So we got Bengals at Browns first. What do you think?
Okay, so Bengals at Browns. I think the Bengals are going to win.
I'm going to say Browns. Jags at Titans.
Jags.
I'm going to say Titans. Panthers at Bucks.
Oh, Panthers.
I'm going to say Bucks. Wow, we're differing on everything.
Different.
Broncos at Steelers.
Steelers.
I agree, Steelers. Rams at Eagles.
Rams.
I agree, Rams. 49ers at Jets.
49ers, because the Jets suck.
Exactly that, I agree. But Bills at Dolphins.
Oh, Christ, the Bills are going to run them wild, so...
The Bills are going to do better than the Patriots, I think. So, Bills.
Yeah.
We've really blasted through these. We can slow down a bit. There's a minute and 10 seconds.
Let's chill.
Let's chill. Vikings at Colts.
Oh, tough one. But I think the Vikings are probably going to have a bit more on offense and a bit more on defense. So I think Vikings are going to beat the Colts.
The Vikings are going to ruin them. Lions at Packers.
Oh, easy Packers.
Yeah, I agree. Packers. Falcons at Cowboys.
Did that hurt? I did. Cowboys for me.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys need that win. Cowboys. Yeah. Giants at Bears.
Hate the Giants, but Bears. I think the Bears continue that mini streak they're going to have early season.
Okay, picking up the pace again. 17 seconds. The Bears. Football team at Cardinals.
Football team to go 2-0.
I'm going to say Cardinals. Chiefs at Chargers.
Chiefs.
Agreed. Ravens at Texans.
Ravens.
Agreed. Patriots at Seahawks as time runs out.
Patriots.
Seahawks.
Because Cam Newton knows the NFC.
Don't care. The Seahawks are a better team. I don't care if he's on the first name basis with half their mothers. The Seahawks are a better team.
Oh man, we'll see. It'll be a tie game after overtime.
And we will remind as well that included in week 2 are tonight's Monday night games, where we both said the Steelers would beat the Giants, and we both said the Titans would beat the Broncos.
Yeah, and I stick by that.
I do as well. Not that you have a choice. It's just in the annals of time.
Absolutely.
So, as we begin to close out here, I'm just going to introduce what else you can catch on the Jez Show Network for the rest of this week. So, coming up tomorrow, because Monday is now left behind us as we finish out the last broadcast of the day. At 3 p.m. over on Captain Soro's Twitch, he's continuing on Mega Man Battle Network as part of Mega Man Battle Week.
Yep.
And then there is no main roster tomorrow or this week at all. We'll be back a week on Tuesday for the main roster for your wrestling chat. Cool. So in its place, tomorrow evening, I am going to be playing for the first time Power Rangers Battle for the Grid.
Oh, is that an app?
It was an app. It's been ported to consoles.
Oh yeah. Got it on the Xbox. Well, not personally. My eldest has it. He likes it.
Yeah. I've not played it before, but I was waiting for it to come to the PS4, and it's there now. So I'll be playing that tomorrow. Twitch.tv/The Jez Show for that. And then there's a lot of other things coming up later in the week, which are on the screen right now. Join us. Join any of us on the Jez Show Network. Something to watch, depending. Definitely. No matter what you enjoy, really.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
So there we go. What a game that is. I rate the game choice. I'm not sure whether you mean Mega Man or Power Rangers, but they both seem to be stellar games. So
Yeah.
Dylan, I think you signed up for Twitch a few weeks ago, so come on into
Yeah.
one or both,
Yeah.
and chat along with us as we pretty much do the same thing: beat up some bad guys
Yeah.
while wearing armor. That's the premise of both games.
Yeah. It certainly is. Not that I've not come across Mega Man, so I'm gonna, have a look at that. Actually, sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean he did the first part of it today, so if you want to get a bit of that in before tomorrow, head over to his Twitch,
Definitely.
twitch.tv/Captain
Yeah.
Soro,
Yeah.
and watch a little replay, bit of video
Yes,
on
I will.
demand to
Yeah.
finish out your evening. But other than that, we will be back on 2 Minute Warning, same time next Monday, as we run through week 2, and
Yep.
hopefully I beat you on the prediction front. Hopefully the Patriots lose. Hopefully the Bears win. And all will be right with the world. I don't buy it. It's 2020.
Coming up.
Thanks for watching us. Make sure you follow everywhere, like, subscribe, etc., etc. I've been Jez. That's Matt. Say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt.